Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another draft class recap video. Today we're talking about the Philadelphia Eagles. Let's begin. Alright, so we've made it this far. Now it's time to talk about the Eagles, and this is one of the more interesting ones because of the drama we had in the second round. Everything was going smoothly until that happened, and now everybody decided to lose their damn mind over it, at least in the moment. Now, I think it's pretty important that I'm, taking this much time to do these draft class recaps, because the one thing that I'm always overly critical of for myself, and maybe other people, but at least for myself, is that knee-jerk reactions to in-the-moment events are bad, and they're usually not that well thought out, and you end up sort of putting your foot in your mouth if you would have spent a little bit more time sort of thinking about it, contextualizing it, coming out with a take that's not so hot, where you could turn off your furnace and heat your house with it. Having said that, we'll discuss the elephant in the room once we get to it. But as far as the Eagles go, the Super Bowl run was amazing. The Nick Foles thing was amazing. The whole story with that, the Philly special, I was a fan. I was rooting for the Eagles, even though they completely whooped our asses in the NFC Championship game. My hat's off to you guys for destroying the Patriots in the Super Bowl. I have a Donovan McNabb jersey hanging over there. I don't know if Eagles fans are still hyped about him or whatnot, but I assume they are. But I know Nick Foles is the guy now. Having said all that, let's talk about the draft. Now, heading into this, I think it was pretty clear cut that the Eagles needed a wide receiver. That was the big need. They weren't able to produce down the field through the air like they wanted to, and they have in the past, because when Carson Wentz and Deshaun Jackson were hitting on all cylinders, this offense was producing points and getting wins. Now, there was a statistic that sort of was a big clue that wide receiver was going to be the number one need for the Eagles going into the draft, and that was, I forget the specifics, but it was something along the lines of no Eagles wide receiver this past season had more than 500 receiving yards through the air, and that's pretty hard to do in this league. I mean, for real. So they decided to address that need early, and very early actually. Round 1, pick 21, Jalen Rhaegar, wide receiver for TCU. One of the barn burners in this draft, finished with 148 receptions, 2,248 yards, 22 touchdowns with TCU. Does offer kick return and punt return value, but I think primarily this is the guy that they want to sort of be in that Deshaun Jackson role, where they can get back to slinging it down the field, because that's when Carson Wentz has success. Moving on to round 2, pick 53, Jalen Hurts, quarterback from Oklahoma. This was the draft pick where ESPN and NFL Network and just about every Eagles fan that was filming a live reaction to the draft pick went nuts. And myself included, I was a little taken aback by it, because I was like, I love Jalen Hurts, and the Eagles, I don't mind them, but this is a weird marriage here. And so you need to look at this pick from a number. You can look at this pick from a number of different angles. So number one, you're probably thinking, okay, this is Carson Wentz insurance. He's got trouble staying healthy. We've had to end the season twice with Nick Foles as the quarterback going into the playoffs. We need better backup options, so we're going to invest in quarterback 2, and Jalen Hurts is our guy. Now, the Eagles GM didn't exactly explain it that way. The explanation that he had were, well, we want to be a quarterback factory, and something along the lines of, down the road, if Jalen Hurts develops properly, they could trade him for another pick. I get kind of like how the Falcons did with Matt Schaub a number of years ago. That's fine, but I don't think that's really the explanation you need to be giving to the media. Just admit that, I get it's hard for teams to admit, we don't really have that much faith in our starting quarterback being healthy all year, so we had to do something about it. I understand you don't want to throw that out there, but at the same time, don't act like you're going to be like some sort of minor league development team for everybody else to get quarterbacks. Just that's a weird take. I don't understand that one. I understand why he did it, but I don't understand why you would want to try to pass that off as your strategy. Either way, Jalen Hurts, amazing career for a college quarterback. 682 completions, 9,477 yards, 80 touchdowns. And on the ground, he's mobile, 614 carries, 3,274 yards, 43 touchdowns. First in the Big 12 last year in completion percentage was 69, nice, 0.7. Second in the Big 12 last year in passing yards with 3,851. First in the Big 12 in passing touchdowns with 32. Second in the Big 12 in rushing with 1,298. And second in the Big 12 with rushing touchdowns with 20. Dude's a machine, and the Lincoln Riley offense was exactly what he needed. So I'm very intrigued to see Jalen Hurts. I'm wondering what the over-under is on him, actually seeing the field this year. So it remains to be seen. Moving on, we have Davian Taylor, linebacker from Colorado, pick 3, 103, round 3, pick 103, excuse me. 129 tackles, 2 sacks, 6 passes defended. 10th last year in the Pac-12 in solo tackles with 57. This is just addressing something that you need on defense, and I have no qualms with it whatsoever. Next, round 4, pick 127, Kavon Wallace, safety from Clemson. This pick here is going to get my magnet of jealousy. Not, that I'm jealous of every single safety in this class, but I actually do like Kavon Wallace. 156 tackles, 5 interceptions, 15 passes defended, 6th last year in the ACC in passes defended with 10. That, and he's battle tested. We've said that phrase a lot during the course of these videos, and somebody that's been in championship games, playoff games, faced tough competition. For a 4th round pick, a battle tested safety, I think that's pretty valuable. Moving on to round 4, pick 145, Jack Driscoll, offensive tackle from Auburn. I love the commitment to the trenches these past couple years by the Eagles. Keep it up. Round 5, pick 168, John Hightower, wide receiver from Boise State. They kept the rhythm going all throughout the draft, getting wide receivers and weapons for Carson Wentz. A side note, Eagles fans, in the comments below, if you're still watching this video, what's up with J.J. Arcega-Whiteside? When he was coming out of college, I thought Arcega-Whiteside was going to be very good in this league. And, I had him projected as a first rounder when he came out in the draft. And for some reason, that hasn't come to fruition. I think maybe there was an injury thing I missed or something like that. But let me know what's up with him, and do we expect him to have a good season this year or even contribute? Because this is a lot of wide receivers. I forgot to read the stats for Hightower. 82 receptions, 1,447 yards, 14 touchdowns for John Hightower, 4th in the Midwest or Mountain West Conference last year in receiving touchdowns with 8, and 7th in the Mountain West Conference in receiving yards with 943. Moving on, round 6, pick 196, Sean Bradley, linebacker for Temple. 255 tackles, 2 sacks, 5th in the AAC in solo tackles with 61. Moving on to round 6, pick 200, Quez Watkins, wide receiver, Southern Miss. Let's see here. 159 receptions, 2,404 yards, 17 touchdowns. First in Conference USA in receiving yards with 1,178 for his last season. Also handles kick return and punt return duty, so you've got a lot of viable options for that this year. Round 6, pick 210, Prince Tega Wanogo, offensive tackle from Auburn. Gets the magnet of... What did I call this? Wow, I'm totally blanking on what this magnet is. Curiosity, intrigue, magnet of intrigue, because this is one of the more intriguing picks, I guess, because they're taking a risk on this guy with the knee injury issues and the inexperience. He was projected to be a late 2nd, maybe early 3rd rounder, falls all the way to 210 in the 6th. I think that's pretty. If he pans out, this could be an absolute steal. Moving on to the last pick of the day, round 7, 233, Casey Toohill, edge rusher from Stanford. 124 tackles, 21.5 tackles for loss, 14 sacks last year, 5th in the Pac-12 in sacks with 5, so a pretty productive 5th-year senior from Stanford. So that is the Philadelphia Eagles 2020 NFL draft in a nutshell, and it's a pretty good draft when you think that they addressed their biggest problem, and that was unproductive wide receivers. Now we have a ton of them to throw out there to Carson Wentz and see what sticks. And I'm still intrigued to find out what happens with Arcega-Whiteside on this team. But that is my take on the Philadelphia Eagles offense. I think Jalen Hurts is an interesting pick as well. He probably could have gotten the magnet of intrigue, but I think that would have been a little too obvious. So we'll save it for Prince Tega Wanogo. All right, so that's going to do it. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.